7 years old, 16, right? All the stuff that you experience that kind of make you believe subconsciously that you're not good enough, you're not lovable, or blah, blah, blah. So there's always a story for masculine women when they're stuck there. It's always a story in a past for feminine men and everything in between. So NLP to clean that up so we can actually be in the world present and making choices as opposed to stuck in a loop. Um, I say to people, if you keep saying, if you, as a woman, if you say men are all, they're always and they never, or women are all, they never, it's you. It's you. It's what you're polarizing. So just saying. I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. And that goes for all relationships. Like we communicate poorly. And part of the reason is when a man speak, the woman is not hearing what he's saying. And when a woman speaks, we're not hearing what she's trying to say. So we have two different filters, and it sounds ridiculous, right? Like we look at each other, we speak English, you hear the words that come out of my mouth, whoop, I missed the ball. And that's caused a lot of friction, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, right? How many times do you said to a girl, that's not what I said, that's not what I did, that's not what I meant, how the hell did you get there? And we start thinking they're a little cuckoo because never heard the word I said because they're whatever. And the other way around is because we talk less, we tend to give them one word answer because we get interrupted all the time. So we learn to even not try. They get one word answer and they think we're cold, distant, shallow, not caring, selfish. That's not it, right? So how do we blend all that in? How do we come together with all this? How do we negotiate these things? So communication stuff is the big, big, big stuff. I do women's work. I do men's work. My favorite thing to do, and try to help people tune in a little bit and understand the other side. Right. So that's the game. That's what I do. You get a hold of me. Yeah, I'm all social medias, all the platforms under Andre Paradis and or Project Equinox, which is my company, and projectequinox.net. You'll find my website and all the links are on there. All the podcasts are on there. There's a lot of blogging. I do a lot of writing, and it's a great place to spend. You can spend the day there and read and listen, and you'll get a sense of what I'm up to. And what I'm up to is help alleviate the pain and confusion in relationships, all relationships. And there's a modern way to do what works better naturally. It's not going back to the 50s at all. Like, I get accused of that all the time. Well, you want women barefoot? I'm like, no, shut up. That's not what I'm saying. Jesus. Anyway, that's what I do.
Barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen
In the
wearing nothing
kitchen,
but their underwear, right?
right? An apron, just an apron. No, nothing.
Yes.
Just it's just an apron. Naked, making bread, making homemade bread as well.
Well, yeah, that's probably where they got this saying that, you're the best thing since sliced bread. That's probably the image that they're thinking of, a woman in just her apron making bread for her partner. So I guess then my first question for you, Andre, is you mentioned the communication piece.
Mm.
Tell us, how do men communicate and how does it differ from how women communicate?
Now, again, this goes way into like caveman, cavewoman stuff, anthropology, right? Um, and understand that we've only language has been added to our lives only 44,000 years ago. So we've been caveman, cavewoman for millennia, right? And we communicate with grunt and signs and facial expression. It was all body language. This is why today, to this day, we're the worst at word communication, and word communication uh, only makes 7% of all communication. So we miss the boat talking all the time. And this is the one that cracks me up. You and I, men, tend to be direct, right? We're direct. So terrain, meet me at 12 at this place and we'll go there. You know what I mean? And you go, got it? Be there at 12, and if you're like most men, you'll probably be 10 minutes early. Now, some don't have that, but there's kind of a masculine thing to be in time, right? And in time as opposed to through time. Anyway, different conversation. But when we talk to ladies, so we speak directly, they speak indirectly. They speak with hints and innuendos, right? You'll see them do this to each other all the time. Like there's a tone of voice that communicates, not the words. It's the volume. It's the accentuation, right? So to a woman, are you ready? To a woman, Sure. That's one thing. Sure. That's something else. Sure. That's another one. Uh, sure. That'd be great. Right? Same word, different intonation. That's what they're listening to. I and you and most men hear just the word. Sure. The tone doesn't record for us. So they speak with tone so as to get this. So when a woman speaks to us, well, let me flip it. When we speak to women because they communicate like this with each other, tone, intonation, hints, like all that kind of stuff. It's never direct because they think that would be rude and could upset somebody. So they're sweet about it by going I call it going on the block, right? So they do this to each other. That's their go-to. So when we speak to them, like, are you ready? This is crazy, but this is factual. This is anthropology. They are listening for what's he trying to tell me, or what's that got to do with me? They're not hearing what I'm saying. They don't listen to the words. They're listening to the message behind the word because that's how they do with each other. Example, how many times has happened to you? You go somewhere with your girl, you throw her shirt on, and she goes, "Oh, is that what you're gonna wear?"
All the time. I remember you and I talked about that last
Right.
year.
Do you know what I mean? So again, she can't say directly, "I don't like that shirt on you." That would be rude. She thinks it's going to start a fight. Not understanding that we're not like that. That's what women respond. That's how women respond with being, criticized, and that hurts their feelings, but not us, right? So instead of going, "I don't like that shirt on you," right? They go, "Huh, you gonna wear that?" They go around the block, right? Hints in tone, intuition. Like you're supposed to pick up the tone or the hint, right? We don't have a brain for that. So, and if you respond, like, well, yeah, huh. Well, what if it gets hot? And what if you meet somebody? Or what if you decide to go somewhere special? Oh yeah, 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 right? And so say 17 things, that's completely unclear to us. But what she meant to say is, I don't like that color on you. I don't like that shirt on. So don't ever say that. So they think we're thick because we don't get the hints because it's so obvious to them. And we're like, I like that shirt. What if it gets hot? I'm good. But what if we go somewhere fancy? I'm good. It's fine. I like that shirt. Like, we'll defend it because we're not hearing, so I suggest the ladies, instead of this hint stuff that we don't get, right? You wear a shirt that she doesn't like for whatever reason. You go, oh, okay. You know, this is great, but that blue shirt that you wear, oh, you're just, mm, I'm just saying, like that blue shirt on you. I guess what's gonna happen? You gotta go change your shirt, right? As opposed to, anyway. So they speak indirectly because that's how they speak to each other. We don't get it. They think we're thick. They get frustrated often because we don't get it, and they think they're so obvious. Anyway, so that's one of the ways so that's the way they do it. What's he trying to tell me? Right? You say something. What's he trying to tell me? It's kind of funny. The other one is what's that got to do with me? You notice this if you talk like, let's say you're passionate about, I don't know, golf. You know what I mean? You're passionate about golf. You have a conversation with a woman and you kind of go like, the passion of golf, and she's sitting there going, what's that got to do with me? Why is he talking to me about this? This is stupid. Why? And she gets all stiff and kind of wants to push back because she can't jump in the participate. So when they communicate together, they jump in, they interrupt each other, they interrupt us. That's why we give them the one-word answer. But if you watch two women talk, it's not about the point. It's the mixing of, right? Oh my God, me too. I love that color. So I love and my friend Susie, and they interrupt each other. But because for them, it's not the words that's important. It's the fact that as they're talking, they're connecting. And that's what they're looking for, connection. So meaning doesn't have to be there. There's no point necessarily. It's a spaghetti of words and thing, but they love it. That's how they feel safe. That's how they connect. So they want that from us, not understanding that that's not how we do it. Anyway, so when they're talking to us, because when we speak, as we speak less, it's factual, men speak about 7,000 words a day. Women speak 20 in average. Okay, so I go with that, understand that, right? So we don't speak as much. We don't share our feelings that much because we don't actually trust feeling very much. We don't lead our lives to our feelings. We live our lives to our logic, plans. So when we speak to anybody, it's important, it's serious. You got to know this. I got something for you to tell you. You know what I mean? It's like it's always important we speak. It's not we don't speak just to speak, and we don't speak to connect, right? So when we speak, or when they ask us a question, when they speak to us, right? We think it's got to be important, right? That's got to be important. So if it's important, there's something going on here. So when we listen to them, we're listening for what's the point? If everything's fine, she's just talking. What's the point? What's she talking? What is she? What is she like? What am I supposed to remember here? What? Right? But he goes all over the place and makes us a little crazy. So if she's good, is what's the point? If she's upset, is what's the problem? You know what I mean? And what happened is if there's no point coming and there's no problem for me to solve in about 2.5 minutes, I kind of like this is overwhelming because I'm looking for the damn point because there's got to be a point. She's talking because that's how we do it. Anyway, so then what happens is there's no point. We get frustrated. We get overwhelmed really quickly with the avalanche of words that kind of all over the place. And so often they'll see us glaze over because they're trying to connect to us. Like that's how they connect by talking. But we'll get, and then the moment we glaze over, she realized, oh, I lost him. Damn it, I lost him. So what do? They talk more, trying to bring us back. That's how they do with girls. So that whole, we have two different filters, even using the same language that creates completely different understandings and misunderstanding and frustration. And so, eventually we stop talking because we keep getting interrupted. So they end up with a one-word answer. We learn that in childhood and early adolescence. I cannot finish a sentence. She asks me a question and she interrupts me when I'm trying to answer it. Can't finish a sentence, can't finish to answer a question, can't finish a thought, right? And we find that disrespectful. But she wants to jump in the conversation to be part of it to connect, right? And for us, it's like, and then we end up with one word answer, anything but shallow. Hello. Did I just, I went off again, didn't I?
That's why you're here because I love it. And it reminded me of an example, Andre. I was speaking to a couple. They're older, they're probably in their 60s.
Mm-hmm.
This conversation lasted 2 hours. I was trying to help them work through something. I spoke to the wife first and then the husband. So as I was speaking to the wife about this issue that they had, out of that 2 hours, it was an hour and a half with the wife. When the husband came on, it was
30
30
minutes.
minutes.
And again,
Right. And someone was with me because I was helping them to show them the dynamic of working with married couples.
yeah,
She was like, that really is the difference between men and women right there in that conversation. I was like, yes. I was like, did you notice how often she interrupted? Did you notice how often she wouldn't get to the point where the man said, this is our issue. What do you think are the tools that we need to do? And I said, okay, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. Which one fits? He said, okay, I like the second one. I was like, okay, how are you going to do the second one? And the wife's in the background, why are you so calm? Why are you right? So when you
there you go.
share the difference between men and women, I saw it recently in real time. But now my question to you now, Andre,
Yes.
because I know you and I talked about this numerous times in the number of years we've known each other.
Yeah.
A woman that's in her masculine energy and a man that's in his feminine energy, do the way they communicate switch?
Well, a masculine woman will be more direct, right? Because if they're masculine, they typically sort of had to take care of themselves when they were younger, they had to protect themselves to man up, right? Which becomes a masculine woman in the world. They have a difficulty slipping to the feminine because it was never safe. That always starts in childhood, right? Bad daddy, no daddy, whatever. Life and trauma. So a masculine woman tends to be more direct, right? Sometimes so much so that they're so manly, they're disrespectful to everybody all the time. My favorite like stupid things to hear, right? There's a masculine woman will say, "Oh, I'm just direct, and if people don't like it, it's their problem." I'm like, that makes you an asshole. That doesn't make you a good person. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a directness that's even condescending typically. Anyway, so masculine women tend to be direct. They'll act like men. They respond like men. They'll talk less like men. They'll have to recover right like men in ways that they operate because we both have both within us. So if you cultivate your masculine side as a woman, you will have all the qualities of masculinity that you don't like: pushy, controlling, uncooperative, combative, right? Like leaning in, right? So the stuff that you like less about man that you complain about, you become because you become a man. You know what I mean? On the other side, feminine men are more like about seducing and pull and chilling out than leaning in and producing. So as much as men provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead, pay, right? It's a forward action. We take action. We give, give, give. The feminine men take, take, take. They don't want they don't talk. They don't want the responsibilities. They don't want to pay. They don't want to have your babies. They don't want to marry you. They want to move in your apartment and drive your car, right? So they're feminine, excuse me, and they're a lot of times under the veil of being artistic. As she's working two jobs, he's on the couch spooning the dog, writing his music, smoking a joint. You know what I mean? Like he's an artist, right? So she's sport. That's a feminine man. Now, they don't necessarily talk like women. Some do, right? If they're feminized, they'll talk more, factual. And if actually men who were raised without fathers and raised with a single mother will actually, that's how they get feminized. They speak through their feelings, they live through their feelings, they justify their feelings. They're not logically minded, they're more emotionally minded. That's what was modeled to them, right? They lose the ability to take charge of themselves and push and build something themselves. They become kind of victims in the world because everything's so hard. And or after puberty, with too much cuddling from mom and no role modeling from dad, again, they slip into the feminine paradigm and then expect women. These are the boys out there, by the way, ladies. These are the guys that you hate. These are the guys you think. These are the guys that are actually toxic, cheaters, calculating, right? Like manipulative. They're feminine men who expect women to take care of them, like mom, right? And that's a problem. You see that very highly in certain communities where the female take over. There was no dad. They raised the boys to be girls, and the boys are emotional. They're castrated from the masculinity. They don't know how to be men, right? But they still have testosterone, so they're violent, erratic, unpredictable, dangerous sometimes, emotionally and financially unstable. Ladies, that's not man. That's boys that didn't have proper role modeling. So again, the extremes out of nature, again, we both have masculine and feminine, but a woman will be better in life and happier and more body centered and in line with her essence if she lives through her feminine more, right? You have to do life, you have to man up sometimes, you have to go to work, I get it. But if you're stuck in your masculine, right, you're going to struggle, you're going to be tired, you're going to find yourself feeling that nobody cares and because you do everything yourself and there's a whole reason for that, right? So you get burnout and feeling lonely and abandoned. And no one cares, but you lost the ability to be vulnerable and let people help. That's part of the twisting that happened. So on the other side, when men are soft and feminine and they're sweet and they talk a lot, right? But they also, when they talk, it's more of a monologue. They don't really have conversation with women. They just monologue. It's all about them, like a feminine woman, right? Like that feminine does. So again, it's better off for a man to line up with his masculinity, right? Conquer himself, conquer his fear, push through his fear, his self-doubt, build his character, which builds confidence, lean into something difficult to do out in the world, become relevant, make some money, and all of a sudden he's got the mojo, the power, and the confidence to go, I want me a wife, I want a couple of kids, I'm building a kingdom here, and I want to leave a legacy. That's what masculine men do. Feminine men don't do any of that. They expect women to do it for them. And by the way, these are the ones who cheat on them, manipulate them, steal from them, beat them up. Like that's all. That's not men. That's feminine men. It's the lack of masculinity that makes men dangerous or boys dangerous because they're not men. Brother,
You're on a roll today. You're on a
I know
roll.
you push that button, but
I try, I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to save some of these men out here, especially the younger men, because I were talking about the example with the gym, how there's men out there who are hungry for this type of information, and when they get it from you and your energy, they show you in so many different ways that they're appreciative. What do you think then are some of the obstacles that, let's say, young men are facing to tap in and nurture their masculine side?
like I said, is a culture as much as we empower women and the go-to is go girl, you know what I mean? Which is again masculine and the new modern way to do it. For the boys, the men, we shame them out of being masculine. Don't lean on women. Don't be assertive. Don't tell her what to do. Don't you dare, right? The patriarchy has been pushing women down for millennia. We're changing the script. Like, you don't get to do any of that anymore. We're equals, and you can't tell me what to do. So the guys are doing this, like, completely. Just, they don't do anything. They don't want to be toxic. They don't want to be pushy. They're trying to be polite. They think they're expected to be nice guys. So they do this. But nice guys don't push. Nice guys don't battle. Nice guys don't fight, right? Nice guys are passive. They're soft. And as much as women say, I want a nice guy, they don't want a nice guy. The nice guy doesn't make them feel safe. The nice guy is too soft, cannot protect them, right? So get the psychology here that's, again, anthropological, is that if a woman can control a man, right, that she can tell him what to do and he does it, like, he's trying to, happy wife, happy life. That's such bullshit. Because what happened is, if she can control him, he's weak. If he's weak and something happens, he can't really defend and protect her. She instantly loses respect for him, and she'll dump him, and or it goes right in the friend zone. So when women say, "I want a nice guy," no, you want a man, and a man who's not going to kiss your butt, and again, is going to actually have a frame, and it's going to make you jump in his frame. And if you jump in his frame, you get out of his frame. You know what I mean? But that's what women respect. That's what works best. So a man who's solid in his masculine, devoted masculinity, right, wants to provide and protect naturally. That's what we do, the man, right? But he requires the respect to do this, to take care of women, right? Requires respect, and she only respects him if he's solid, if he's got his stuff together, if he's got a frame that's predictable, that makes her feel safe and understand where he's going in the future. He's got his stuff together. Look, 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 that's a good prospect. So women are attracted to men who have a good future lined up, right? They see the future like, okay, that's a good candidate for family and kids, if you want that, or financial gain. Men filter women through where they've been. Where has she been before me? What is her lifestyle like? What's her body count? Like, people don't like to talk about this. And, women say, a guy's insecure if he needs a butt. No, 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 no. Again, it's anthropology. It's who you've been in the past is who you are on some level. And kind of really trust that to build my kingdom. And again, traditional women line up with that. Non-traditional women in our culture, this is why men don't necessarily step in anymore, because can't trust you. You have a shady past that's way, way, promiscuous. That's the new normal, right? So this is it's another thing people don't understand. Oh, okay, you go.
When you mentioned the past of like where a woman has been, I shared that with someone that I used to date a number of years ago, and I told her that I can't trust her.
Right.
Right? And
That's
she's
right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's like, well, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not gonna beat you. I'm like, no, no, I don't mean trust like that. I'm like, I can't trust you because of what you've done in the past. And I gave her the examples. I'm like, and this is what I know from the time we've been together, the people that you keep around you, which for some reason women don't think that
A
is a
big deal.
saying, is right, it's a
Right.
big deal. And what I've observed, and she sat back, Andre, and she was like, I can see the wheels turning in her
Nice.
head, right? And she was like, I understand.
Wow.
Right? It was a big deal because this is someone that hates to be vulnerable, but I shared that because I didn't say it in a way that I was disrespectful to her, I was condescending. I just said that this is where I want my life to go. This is where it's currently going. These are some of the things that I've identified in you that are preventing us from you joining that journey. You
Yeah.
have a
Hindering.
choice. Yeah, right. You have a choice. Either we can work together on it, or you can say that no, I'm comfortable where I am, but I'm gonna continue forward. Either you continue forward with me, or you
Yeah.
don't continue forward with me. When that relationship ended, she went back to that circle of friends who she agreed weren't benefiting her.
Yeah.
So now sometimes I'll see some of the things that she posts online and things like that. And I was like, now you're even worse.
Right.
Right?
Well,
Like,
because
why do
that's
you
what.
think women fall into that trap?
Well, because I women follow their feelings, not their logic. It's just what it is, right? We logically minded, we follow logic, structure, and order. That's how the world's been built. That's how we keep tab on everything that needs to be done, right? That's just the masculine. Feelings to us is behind, right? We have a lot of feelings, but we don't lead through our feelings. We lead through our logic. Women lead through their feelings, right? It's all about their feelings. Everything they see, smell, taste, touch, feel makes them feel good and bad moment to moment. So like the weather, their moods change. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As a woman, understandably. But logic often is out the window. And what women do is they gather together and reassure each other that whatever they're doing is great, right? Women support women, but even if it's illogical, toxic, dangerous. I'll tell you, get this. I'm going to give you an example. And that one, every time I talk about it, it's just my heart just clenches. So I had a neighbor when I was living at the other house next to us, right? She was masculine. He was a big girl, right? So she drove the show. She controlled everything. You could hear him over the fence. Like it was a business contract all the time. She just, whatever, right? It was contractual. I don't know what kind of love life they had because it was not pretty to hear. Anyway, but little petite thing, right? And so they build an Airbnb in the back of their house when Airbnb kicked in, right? So you come in with a credit card and press the numbers, and nobody has to be there, and you have the credit card. So, right? So, because I remember thinking, how are you going to manage that? Oh, everything is okay. Good, I get it. She tells me this one day because we meet in the back, and she said, "So I had a new client this week, you know." And she's excited to tell me. She goes, "It's a woman who came to me and said, I can't give you any credit card of any kind because I don't want anything to be tracked because I'm having a lesbian affair with a friend of mine from work and I don't want my husband to find out." So she's like, "Oh, girl, you get yours. Absolutely. Just, we'll do cash stuff and da da da. You get yours, girl. Right? All like supporting this fucking madness, excuse my French, right? Because imagine the other way around. For 1 second, the same woman. If a guy came up to her and said, "Can you use my credit card because I don't want my wife to find out I'm sucking dick with a friend of mine and I need," she would lose her mind, right? So I'm saying all this to say that women give each other the worst advice. Women support women at all costs, whether it makes sense or not, right? Again, in the name of liberation, and it just destroys really the bond and the norm. And again, the way men can actually see them as someone valuable, someone with character, someone with values that they want to build with. So women in the name of freedom and liberation are making some ridiculous choices together, but they support each other, right? The fat shaming thing, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. The fat shaming thing came from what? Right? Oh, girl, you're beautiful. You're a 10. They're all 10s, where most of them are 4s, right? But they tell each other, "Girl, you're beautiful and fat. You be you. We love you." So girlfriends stay fat. Now, I think this is much more calculated than supportive, right? Because if you keep her fat, she's no competition. If you keep her ugly, she's no competition. You convince her to cut her hair, right? Like, because men like long hair. Like, so this, all of that shit that women do to each other in the name of sweet and loving and kind and supportive, that's often very destructive for them with each other. But we watch this thing. We as men will watch this and go, "What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?" And then, we become a little sort of aware, maybe even suspicious of the behavior because they say one thing and they do the exact opposite. You know what I mean? My favorite is women say, "I want you to be honest. Tell me the truth. Don't lie to me. Be honest." You tell them the truth and they can't handle it. They freak out. Okay, so you don't want to hear the truth. So we often will hold information just so she doesn't freak out, right? But she knows she didn't get the whole truth, and then it starts that maddening. So and my favorite is you want us to tell the truth, to be honest with you, but we watch you lie to each other constantly, right in front of us, right? I go to a lot of events. You do the same thing, right? So there's a lot of public events, whatever. And I'll be with a girl that I know because it's a small world in Los Angeles. We can end up with one of the same people often. So I'm talking to a woman that I know from before, and some girl walks in and she's like, "Oh my God, what is she wearing?" You know what I mean? Like, and then as we, I'm like, whatever. And then the girl makes her way over, and the first thing she said, "Oh my God, I love your dress." And I look at it, what? Why? What? Why? Why? You you're lying in front of me in the name of what? Do you know what I mean? Be nice, but you just so women don't get that. Like they lie to each other in front of us, and they wonder why sometimes we question it. Just say, just say. It's not pretty. Just an observation. Love y'all. No judging. Just an observation. Just data collecting.
I've seen that. I've seen
I
where
know.
I've gone somewhere and and the woman will tell me, it's like, I can't believe she's wearing that. And as that
Yeah.
woman approaches, she'll say something else. And it's like, you will lie about someone to my face. And then if I ask you if you would ever lie to me, of course I wouldn't. I would never lie to you. I'm like,
Uh,
so you want
which is it?
do you want
Which
the
is it?
truth? Yeah, do you want the truth or you want your truth?
Yeah. And again, right? And again, if you try to have that conversation, let's say by, if you bring that up, right? Which is going to shame her a little bit because it's pretty shameful, I think, right? She'll turn on you and tell you that you're the cause. Like, how dare you make her feel bad when she was fine, but now you brought that up and now she's mad at you and she'll turn the whole thing against you, to defend herself. That's when I shake my head, I smile, and I walk. Like, you can't manipulate this. You will not manipulate this like me. Like, I'm trying to bring something up to you. You're going to turn on me and try to shame me? Hell no. But that's a defense mechanism again. So, she's fine. You say something, she's mad at you, and she'll actually turn it on you. This is what women do. How dare you? And then they'll go on the attack with you never, always. And last time, and 5 years ago, you did that. Like they'll bring right there, anything to deflect of the responsibility they just put on their face. Now, that's understandably, I get the part of it is accountability in women is their kryptonite, and there's a good reason for that anthropologically, right? But so to us is insane because if I'm not held accountable for my mistakes, my choices, culture, society, the world will smack me down so hard, right? But for the ladies, they can get away with lack of accountability because we let them get away with it. So it's interesting. So it can be very frustrating, but again, if you understand the mechanism, you can forgive them for it. Like, I'm not hating on anybody, but some of it is pretty dark. It's pretty dark just on its own, and I like to shine the light on that, just so you know what's going on we deal with, and how to step around it, because that's all we can do. Oh,
What
good Lord.
happens when men avoid accountability and responsibility?
Well, that would be boys, right? And they end up victims in life, and they become masters at manipulating the environment, the people in their world, the women in their lives, right? I know so many, and they look like men, right? Big guys, 6'2", right? Big burly guys, and they find ways because they don't want to work, they want to be comfortable, right? They don't want to do anything. They don't want to do anything that men do, but they act like men. They sound like men, but they'll do stuff like I have one throws himself down the stairs at work to collect workers' comp for 2 years. His back is now hurt. He can't work. Right? That's what they do. And so the guy is chilling at home, collecting money, fucking watching TV and whatever, right? Comfortable, and then he'll find himself a woman to manipulate in order to satisfy that part of his life. That's what men that don't take accountability look like. I have one guy here, like he works in the film industry in Los Angeles. He goes to the gym, and I completely lost respect for him. Completely lost. He looked like a man, talked like a man. And he works in the film industry, and he operates the cranes, camera cranes. Right, it's a specialty. Gets a ton of money. Do you know what I mean? But every year, every year, he gets on his Harley and gets into a crash, and now he can't work for a year. And because he makes so much money through the unions that they have to match his salary, and he's chilling at home. And his wife's a cop, so she's out there working a shitty job. Oh my God, she's completely stressed out. So he's chilling at home, making money, and she's like out there being a cop in Los Angeles as a woman. Every time I see her, I want to die. Like she's so out of her mind, stressed out and freaked out, and you know what I mean? Because he doesn't make her feel safe, and she has a terribly unsafe job, and constantly dealing with conflict, which women are not built with. That confrontation, that anger, that whatever, right? this woman's gonna explode, and he's gonna sit there and go, oh well, it was good for a while. Promise you. Once a year, bike accident. Whether he gets hit, run over, falls down, off the side, enough to not work for the rest of the year. That's the lack of accountability. Those are boys. And again, those are the ones who are toxic. Those are the dangerous ones. Those are the cheaters. Those are scammers, scam the system, scam the government, scam something, you know what I mean, to not work. I see it all the time. Even younger guys, 26-year-old on disability. What? Like, that's a boy. That's not a man. Men don't do this. Men fight. Men push. Men copy themselves. Men work. Oh,
A couple of years ago, and I think I shared this with you, but a couple of years ago, a former friend of mine, we were friends then. I would always, anytime he would call me, the conversations would go for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and they just were so exhausting, Andre. And then one day, I must have just woke up from my slumber from these long, drawn out, sleepy, hypnotic conversations. I just asked him, "What are you going to do about it?" F you, click.
yep.
Right. And then a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, he sends me a text message. Oh, I was going through something. I was like, going through something. I was like, what does that mean? So he eventually called and he shared that he's going. I was like, let me tell you something. Stop going to the fortune teller. Stop going to the mind readers.
Dumbass.
Do this. Just figure out what is it that you want to do with your life. Stop complaining. Well, I was like,
There
what do
you
you
go.
think?
I
What do
feel
you
like
think?
I feel like
Right?
it's feminine, right?
Like,
Lack of
there you go.
accountability. Lack of accountability. I was going through something. It's not my fault. Feminine. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? And then when you put them to work, like, what are you going to do? Right? They come back with all the reasons why they can't. You know what I mean? So, and that's why the conversation for an hour is complaining about something they're not willing to change, to play victim, to get attention from people. And they go, oh my God, that's terrible. I'm so, oh my God. And you go, have you tried this? I can't do that. How about this? I can't do that. How about this? I don't want to do this. Okay, that won't work. And after a while, because we want to be supportive as men, especially, right? Men don't necessarily reach out for support very much. So when one does, well, you got to quickly filter who you're talking to. Because if he's feminine, he's going to take your energy and your time and complain the whole time. You can't help him. And I've had those friends too. And at one point I said, so, if you're going to call me to bitch and not want to change anything, and not take anything, you ask for advice but you don't want it, stop calling. Handle your shit. I'll be your friend. But I'm not the kind of friend you could just bitch on, take my time, energy, and literally waste it in the name of you want some help. You don't. You want to be a victim? Stop calling. And they do. They disappear.
Oh yeah,
Because
100%. Like it ended. I was like, thank God. I told him I just said straight out, if you're not going to be solution based and more problem based, then I
see
can't
ya.
be your friend anymore.
See ya. Yeah. It's a drain. It's a drain. And like we don't have enough to do and we need more, more bullshit to deal with. Like, dude. And from a man, it's even worse, right? We want to help women and they need that, right? But for a dude to act like a girl, get the hell out of here.
Let me ask you,
Well, yeah.
Andre, one final question, just to help out the
Yes, sir.
ladies out there.
Yes, yes.
We talked about traditional women, we talked about feminine women, we talked about women who spend more time in their feminine energy and not in their
Mm,
masculine
mm,
energy because we
mm,
know
mm.
where masculine energy women usually end up.
Right.
What are some of the steps that women can take, either through the help that you provide or just with themselves, to maintain a strong feminine energy that they can tap into and live with?
Well, first off, they have to see the value in that because if they're raised in a culture of, go girl, boss babe, you know what I mean? Strong, independent, powerful, that's all masculine. They see femininity, we're convinced femininity is weak and passive and will get them nowhere. That's really understanding nothing about man and, and what we respond to. Your femininity is your superpower. So you have to first even start there, right? And start like experimenting with really what that means and the effect that it has on men. Because the idea that that makes you weak is so completely freaking ridiculous. It's so backwards, right? Feminine energy inspires us. Feminine energy lifts our spirit. Feminine energy makes us go, right? Like it gets us out of our heads. We're always in our heads, logical, right? You bring us present into our bodies, right? If you're going on a date with a feminine woman, you're not thinking. You're right there with her. You're present with her. You're feeling her, right? You're exchanging like energy. You're not, there's no thinking, right? They bring us present, which is like out of our heads into our hearts where they like us the most, and something that we don't experience without feminine energy to bring us down here. Men on men, we don't get heart centered. We get head centered. Talk a lot of shit, right? So we need the feminine to bring us down, to give us like the other dimension of life called emotions and feelings and connecting to feeling alive, really, even. So women have to understand that femininity is not weak. Forget your Forget your university teachers that tell you different, that you have no power, that men are trying to get on top of you, that you should, the future is female. Yeah, you could laugh. It's ridiculous. It's not how it works. It's not how the world works. It's never been. It's never gonna. So that whole concept, right, is so we think this thing, understand the masculinity again, and women are suffering, right? Because they're alone, they feel abandoned, nobody cares and wants to date them. I go, well, because you are bought into a system where you think boss babe, strong, independent is cool, but the man that you want when you decide that you want some support, some help, a relationship, some companionship, right? The man that you want are masculine. You want the masculine men who do masculine thing, provide, protect, cherish, give, right? The traditional man. You all want the traditional man, but you were raised not to be traditional, and you don't understand that traditional man wants soft, sweet, fit, feminine, friendly, right? Warm, radiant women. That's what makes us conquer the world for you and take care of you, right? So masculine women are masculine men are not attracted to masculine energy women. And this is where the whole thing is backwards because women think that men value them for the way they value us, right? Your resources, your master's degrees, your money, your career, your business, right? Your swag, your status, all masculine things. So women gain that thinking, look how valuable I am. And the guy's like, cool, bruh. And find myself a feminine woman. That's what happens. And like I said, so out there, this is why everybody's confused because women think their swag and their money makes them important to men, and it's the last freaking thing we care about. Don't care about your money. Don't care about your master's degrees. Don't care about your business, right? How are we going to come together? Are you focused on me and us building something? Another line that I use constantly to the ladies that it makes them just, right? They go, you ready? It's a very simple line. Masculine men, masculine men, because we know they're not all masculine. Masculine men do not commit to women who are committed to something else. Do you know what I'm saying, right? So to masculine men who wants a family and a legacy and a wife and build a castle around that and provide and protect, take care of everything, doesn't want a boss babe who's not interested, right? So if your focus is your business, your career, your money, your masters, right, whatever, away from us, okay, I'll find a girl who's into us. Masculine men do not commit to women who are committed to something else. They commit to a woman who wants to build with them. The focus is us first. And of course, you get a career and money and on the side, like my wife does both, right? Part-time here, full life, right? So women don't understand that. So if you focus on career, money, and all that stuff, the man that you want will pass you by.
One more thing, Andre. I want to give you, this is for the men now. I want to give you three wishes for the men. What are three things you
Ugh,
wish men knew about creating masculine energy for themselves and why?
yeah. So get rid of nice guy thinking. Get rid of like happy wife, happy life, right? Because women don't respect a man who puts them in a pedestal. That's just nature. I could go and explain it to you, but you'll get it. You get it just hearing about, right? Women don't respect man, they look down to. So if you put her on a pedestal, she will actually lose respect for you, even though you think you're doing the right thing. So that's in a culture, right? Uh, nice guys don't last. Nice guys get put in men's zone. What makes a man sexy is the fact that he pushed through his fear, he built his character, he built confidence. He's got a passion or a mission for something that's difficult to do. That's how he gains respect, self-respect, but respect by society, by both men and women. It's the conquering of himself that makes him impressive. And the more he conquers, the more he builds, the more people are like, wow, damn, look at him. Wow, it's impressive. You know what I mean? So when the guys are taught or shamed out of masculine are taught to be passive and soft and sweet, they don't build hard, they don't push hard, right? They don't lean in hard. So they don't really build much, which doesn't impress women. So they end up like feeling powerless or very little power, which doesn't help their confidence. And women don't want them. So the only way for this to work, right? And it's not about your height, it's not about your face, it's about your looks, it's not about any of that shit. It's like, what are you conquering that people can respect, especially women? My second brother, I have to say this, and if you listen to this, I don't care. My second brother was a funny looking guy, always been 5'8", eyes too close together, looks like a little monkey face, little pot belly, right? Like, but he never considered for 1 second that it was unattractive. He just thought it was a shit. No, he had the gift of gab. He could seduce anybody out of their pants. Guys, yeah, some do his whole life. He seduced women left and right, not because he was handsome, because he was confident, right? He was so confident they like it was overwhelmingly to the women to like he's this guy's got something, but it's not his face. You know what I mean? So that was sexy, attractive, magnetic because he built his freaking life. He's now a superior court judge of Canada, by the way, is where you are. But like he, he had confidence. He built something, and with that, you couldn't tell him a thing. And he magnetized women like God. Bees to bees to honey, is that the expression? It was crazy. And again, it looks like a monkey. It's a short little pot-belly monkey face. But so man, like forget your looks. I mean, you should go to the gym, empower you, right? Clean your brain and get distressed. So get your body in condition, get your mind in condition, lean into something that's difficult that you have a talent for, one way or the other, right?